How's it going, everybody? This is episode 11 of building the PA-14, my new airplane. We're finally back at it. So, I got a bit done that I didn't videotape the process. So this episode is going to be filling in on where I am, what I've done, and I guess where I'm going. So, let's get to it. So, as you can see, there's a bit of stuff done with the tail. I finished up tying in the longerons to the tail post. That was only tacked before, and I did it wrong. So, as you can see, these tubes touch and they're welded together, and I tied in the longerons to the tail post like you would with any other junction. And that's not correct. There's actually supposed to be a gap right up to the tail post here, and that gives clearance for your elevator horn. So that was the first kind of screw up, and the way the tubes terminated here, I didn't really like how they were gonna blend in. So I ended up putting some doublers on here, as you can see. So they're just, I think 7, 8 tubes, I can't remember, but whatever fits over 3/4 tube for diameter and wall thickness. So I ended up putting in some doublers to tie it in better with the tail post, so that's all good now. And the bottom was twofold, so top was strictly for that. The bottom, I omitted the liners. There's a liner that goes inside the tube right around here, and that stiffens everything up for this tail spring. There's still a bracket to go here, but the liner stiffens it up for your tail spring so you don't bend up your longerons. I omitted it on purpose because originally I was going to build this kind of elaborate swing arm system to mount roughly around here, and I was going to come out and I was going to have a gas shock in here and all that stuff, but I think I'm just going to either run a tail spring, not this 4-leaf, I'll be running a 3-leaf. I just had that one laying around in my parts inventory. The 3 spring is currently on the PA-12. PA-12 is on skis. So I'm going back to the original. I'm probably going to end up either buying a T3 or building something along the lines of that if I can find a suitable shock the right size, which I probably won't, so I'll probably end up buying one. So with the liners left out, it was either cut everything off for the tail post or double it up on the outside, which is what I done. So same thing, there's a liner or a doubler up to this station here where your flying wires attach. So I got that all doubled up. I finish welded the 2 longeron to tail post joints, because getting in here is a pain in the butt, especially when your longerons are too close together like mine. But it's done, so it's not impossible, it's just hard. So then when that was done, I cut and fitted the square tubing for the tail post, or not for the tail post, tail spring. And it's not just a hole drilled through. I did put a piece of 1/2 inch by 0.58 wall, I think it is. Pretty sure that's the one with the 3/8 inside diameter. So there's a piece of that in there. It's TIG welded in and then just ground flush. And ahead here, the plans call for a piece of round tubing. I went ahead and used the same 3/4 stock, seeing I was working with it anyway. So now the bottom is flush, so you got a nice spot to weld your flying wires. And as for the flying wires, or flying wire tabs, I should say, it's not the actual wires. It's on, what page is that? Right here. So yeah, they're saying to do this. Cut it out of 090 and just 2 tapered ends. So somewhere along the way, Piper did something similar to this. I don't know the full history, so if I screw something up here, it's not my fault. I don't know. But yeah, somewhere along the ways they did do something like this, and someone at some point in the factory decided they were going to weld in right here. So, for example, say that was that tab, they welded in here, and that was an AD for sure. So do not do that. If you do two separate tabs, only weld here and here and across the back. If you want to, you can honestly probably leave that out, but do not weld in there. So that for sure was an AD. And I think somewhere along the way they might have just butted the tab up against the tubing like that. Maybe, I'm not 100% sure on that one, but the general consensus is now the best thing to do, instead of doing this, just make a tab or make a strap instead of two tabs. They just go straight along. So cut out one piece, figure out whatever this angle is, 11 degrees. So 11 degrees, and weld the two sides. Do not weld in there like I was saying, and you should be all good. The same thing, yeah, they calls for a 58049 tube and the culprit at the bottom of the longerons, but like I said, you're dealing with square tubing for the tail spring. Yeah, it is half oil 58. So it's just as well as use the same thing up there, I figured. At least then you don't have to heat and form it around a round tube. You got a nice flat surface to work with. So that's where I'm at with that. And these are per plans, that's per plans. This is an Alaska thing, I guess you'd call it. That's where it originated. But that's the tail X brace. They also do a box. So the box, you got a tube across, a tube up. And the tube across the top here is actually not in line. It's down here a bit. I'm pretty sure that's for elevator cable clearance. So I like X's. X's are geometrically more stronger than squares, so I just went with X. And as for where to put it, the top here is mid-span of this diagonal. If I remember right, this is a while ago that I welded this in, since I'm making this video. And for the bottom location, the bottom is square to the lower longeron. So square and halfway. That's where it ended up. So that's that. And I went ahead and I finally welded in the vertical stabilizer. Normally it's bolted in. They put the bolt through here, but then you got a bolt head to kind of contend with when you're doing your fabric. And realistically, if you bend this up, chances are that means you put your plane on its back, and you're in for a whole lot more work than you would really want. So the time savings of having one bolt here versus this weld, when you got to make all this new anyways, it's not worth worrying about. So same thing, I cut it at 30 degrees, welded in, same as you would with like a splice or something. So on the topic of that, the aft to the front is straight per se. It runs down the center line of the plane. So that's the datum line here. It's not in the correct place up and down. Well, the front it is, but the back here, I just moved it up and down to kind of line it up with this leading edge. And I'm not running a jack post because I'm running a linear actuator trim. And I extended my leading edge and I made this whole thing bigger, which is in another video. So to anchor the front, this is what I got. It's just two more 3/8 tubes, same as the front leading edge there. So that'll be that. And then actually when this will be my top stringer, so that's going to weld in right around there too, and it's going to attach there. And once all the turtle decks are in, that'll give it some support, and that'll help it with the fore and aft, even though it really doesn't need it. It's pretty stout where it's to. And this is only tacked just because I don't know if this is going to interfere with something else. So until I know for sure this is good, it's getting tacked. And the top, like I said, the bottom straight in line, the top not straight in line. The top, tie string off to the back rudder post there, and it goes right up to the forward spar carry through, and up here it's not on center, as you can see, or can't see, I don't know, but it's to, if you're sitting in it, it's to the left. I've looked and found measurements anywhere from 1 inch to 2 inches to 2.5 inches. So right now I believe that one is 1.5 inches, I think is the measurement I went with. And you can adjust that after, it's not set in stone. If you find you holding a little bit of right rudder, left rudder, you literally just come back here after it's covered and everything else, and you grab this and you can just bend it and flex it, which is what I had to do to set this, because it's built flat. So if you put it straight in line down here, it's going to be straight in line up there. So after it was in, I put the string in and just grab 2 hands, one hand there, and you pull back and set the twist so it lines up with the line like it is there now. If you can see it, I think it's kind of blending in with the gas cans up there. Maybe this way you can see it, I don't know. But anyways, it's not rocket science. Put the line up 1.5 inches over up there, tie it off back here, and bend it and make it look correct. So that's, the vertical stabilizer is in. And what else did I do? Oh yeah, the other night, come out after work like I am here now, and I cut and welded in the 3 gussets there for the front tube section. I don't know what you call this particular cluster, if it even has a name, but they were quick and easy to do, so I done them. But yeah, that's where we're at. I have made progress. I haven't given up on it. I'm hopefully gonna be putting a lot more time into this now. I've made a point to keep it here in my way so I don't bring anything else in. And whenever I can, I comes out and either works on it or starts coming up with a plan of how to progress in the most efficient way. Alright, so how I'm gonna progress on this thing now is, I think I'm gonna start making brackets and knock some of that stuff out, because there's really not a lot of tube work left. I can do the motor mount braces and stuff like that, but I don't want to tackle any of that until I have a motor mount to use as a jig, because I really don't want to weld this stuff in and then find out that the bolt holes don't line up or they're a little squished or whatever. So that's not getting handled until I have a motor mount, and the motor mount is currently holding the engine on my PA-12, which this should be the last summer for her if all goes well. So the PA-12 is on year 36. Yeah, 36 years on the fabric. It was done in 1989. So it's still in good shape. It do test good. It's airworthy, but like the paint is starting to show. Willie, get down. The paint is starting to show its age, and it's either put time and money into the PA-12 or hang up her hat. Well, she's still going good and had a good run. So before something happens to it, I'm gonna retire the old girl. I thought about selling it. If I sell it the way it is, I'm not gonna get no money with the thing needing fabric and knowing what's underneath the fabric. And I agree with them, rightfully so. In the state it's in, I wouldn't pay a whole lot of money for it, because everybody that knows pipers knows when you pull the fabric off that's been on for that long, especially on a float plane, you're gonna find corrosion, you're gonna find this, you're gonna find that, and you'd be dumb not to fix it. when you got the fabric off. So it's a project. So with that, I don't want to get into that. Even if I did pull the fabric, and let's just say by some miracle I found no corrosion in the lower longerons or in the window channels or wherever, and I spent all the money, all the time, and all the effort, put all new fabric on it, put it up for sale. Even with that, I'm not going to get enough money from it to buy all the parts I need for this that I can get off the PA-12. I can't buy the wings, the fuel tanks, the struts, the floats, the engine mount, the landing gear, the skis, the wheels, etc, etc, etc. It just don't add up. Math don't work. So, don't make sense. Plus, if I do go at that, that's basically, it's a couple month project to recover an airplane not working full time. And that's a couple months taken away from this. So, I can do all the fabric on the PA-12, or I can put the money and time towards this and getting it done. And even if I do the PA-12, and it didn't take that long to do it, I still got to sell it. So I got to wait for a buyer. Then I got to wait for him to pay me and come get the plane. Then I got to buy all those parts. And it's not like you can get on Amazon and order a set of EDO 2000s. You got to find them. Then you got to go get them, or pay an astronomical price to get them shipped. And then chances are you're not going to have the right rigging. Mine are rigged for PA-12 or PA-14. It's the same rigging. Same thing. Then I got to go find an engine. Then I got to find an engine mount, or make one. I just make one. It's not that bad to make one. Then I got to buy the wings and get them shipped here and put the wings together. And well, I'm putting the wings together either way, but it's a lot of screwing around. It's not as simple as going on a website and saying, yep, add the cart, pay the bill, and a couple days later it's here. There's a lot of logistics to it. So with that, I'm going to save my money, use what I got, and progress on this at a faster pace. I think that's the best road to go down. I've put a lot of thought into it. And I really want to see this plane fly. And I'm not comfortable really pushing the PA-12 very many more years. I like to quit while I'm ahead, so to speak. So that's the update on all this. I think I covered everything. I covered everything I've done for work-wise, and I've covered what I know of my plan. My plan is always changing according to what's on the go and what materials I have and everything else. But yeah, that's the PA-12 project as of March 2025. 3 years after I was hoping to be flying the thing. But that's it. That's the way she goes. Don't give up. Keep pushing ahead. And have a good one, everybody.